So, why do old people drive like old people? Like, really? Like, what is it about, like, being a senior citizen or someone of an older age than me driving like they're that age? I know it's a stereotype, but it's true. Like, is there something that happens when you become older that just prevents your foot from being able to press on the pedal? So what else you been up to, Ross? I'll tell you. So I've been dealing with my freaking car, okay? I got to tell you what happened, okay? So I was just telling you how, during my time in Denver, Colorado, I was making consistent trips to Nebraska. And that's about a 4.5-hour drive each way, right? But whatever. It was for a good reason, so it didn't bother me at all. So one night, I'm driving the car, and I say I'm about 30 miles out of Laura's house, okay? And, there's a couple of stops and turns along the way, and there was this turn that came up, and I had came to a complete stop, made the turn, and there was this awful grinding noise in my car, and I said, ooh, ooh, that ain't normal. So I just kept driving because it was the middle of the night. Okay? So then I'm cruising down the road, and all of a sudden there's that noise again, and then, of course, all the interior lights on the dashboard start to flicker, and then boo! Car completely stalls, and I have just enough momentum left to be able to pull to the side of the road. Now, you have to understand, this isn't the kind of area where, okay, I'll just, walk a mile or two to a gas station. There is nothing out there, okay? I'm at least 20 miles from anything in any direction. Okay? So I'm just like, oh, okay, of course. So I get out of the car. It's windy. It's kind of cold. And I kind of stretch, right? Because I've been, driving for 4 hours, right? And I get out of the car, and I open my hood, and what do I see? A fire! Ah! Are you kidding me? My engine is literally on fire, okay? So I dash to the back of my car, where I just happen to have a fire hydrant, Jesus, I mean a fire extinguisher. Imagine if I had a fire hydrant, the kind of power I would possess on the road. Anyway, I had a fire extinguisher, okay? So I'm busting open the crate, I run back over the engine, I put it out. What the hell? What the hell? So, like an idiot, I go, well, maybe I'll just give it a few minutes. Maybe the car will start back up again. All right, so, yeah, I get back in the car, I catch my breath, and I start the car. It's done. It doesn't start like I expected anything else, okay? So now I'm stuck in the middle of nowhere. Like, I know the coyotes are nearby. I know, whatever. I'm food, So, of course, I'm 30 minutes out from Laura's house. So, Hello? Hey, honey. So, long story short, she has to drag the kids out of bed and get in the car and drive all the way out to where I am to pick me up. Of course, I put a note on the car saying, hey, car's dead. I'll pick it up. Anyway, so it cost me a fortune to get it towed, and the first place that I towed it to, a day or two later, they call me up and they're like, all right, so, you can't, the engine's not fixable, so we're going to have to order you a new engine. I was like, oh, man, okay, let me talk it over with my better half. We'll figure it out. Talk to Laura about it. We're like, yeah, no, I don't know, $8,000 for a new engine. I don't know. I could buy another car for that, right? So then I call another place that I find out works on, foreign cars. And it's hard, believe it or not, people who work on Subarus is really hard to come by out here. So I was very fortunate that I found this place. And I called them up and I said, hey, I got this car that blew up. It's on fire. And the guy is super cool. He goes, well, I could probably fix it. I said, great. He goes, listen, man, Subarus they're great cars, man. You could save this. And I really appreciated that. So I get the tow truck to pick it up from this one place and drive it 45 minutes to the other place, another fortune. Drops it off. Guy looks at it, calls me up. Yeah, I can't fix the engine. You're going to need a new one. I said, no! All right, but he says, but listen, there's another option. You don't have to buy a new engine. There's actually quite a market for used engines. I said, used engines? All right, so what is it? And he goes, well, Japan is like the size of Rhode Island, or, so he said. And then when people get new cars, their engines only have like 50 or 60,000 miles on them, so they sell them to the United States and we buy them. I said, okay, all right, so what is it going to run me? He's like, it'd probably run you about $3,000. I said, that's a lot better than that. Let's do it. So I said, how long is this going to take? He goes, you're probably looking at 3 or 4 weeks. I was like, oh my God, okay. So this is during the January where I'm sorry, not January, the December where I'm going back and forth from Nebraska to Denver when I was working for that other distribution company, right? So I happen to have another car. Ross, why do you have another car? That's really obnoxious. No. I originally, when I was traveling from Denver to Nebraska, there were certain times of the year when I didn't want to drive. Days that it was, super cold, like negative 34. Yeah, that's an actual temperature it gets to out here. And so I would take a flight, and there's this little tiny creepy propeller plane that only has 8 seats on it that goes from Denver to Chadron, Nebraska, which is about 20 minutes away from Laura's house. And I felt bad that every time I flew out to Chadron, Laura had to pile the kids in the car and make a 40-minute round trip to come get me. So I decided to get another car, a used car, wasn't a very good car. It is a good car, but it's 20 years old, so. And I kept it at the airport. I just kept it there. And it's a small airport, so they didn't care. People would park it there for 6 months at a time. So my car was in no danger of, anything happening to it. So I would park my car at Denver Airport, take the little propeller plane out to Chadron, and then get in my other car and then drive it, and then vice versa. So it was a really, really good system. But, so I had to use this other car now to get to and from Denver because mine was getting a new engine. All right, so cool. So now I'm making a couple of round trips. I had to make 2 round trips to Denver every week, which was kind of rough, but you do what you have to do, my friends. So anyway, I'm in the car, and this new car, and one day I decide that I'm not going to be on keto for a little while because I need a break. Right? And I decide to go to McDonald's. Well, man, it was a sign, man, because I go to McDonald's and in the drive-thru, my car stalls. Awesome. The backup car stalls. Thing just shuts off. And so I'm in the drive-thru or near it, and so I get out of the car and I'm pushing it. I'm like, what the hell? Come on, man. So I get out of the car, I open the engine. It's not on fire. Luckily, that would have been something if it was. So I give it a few minutes, and of course, like a moron, I decided to start it. But for those of you judging me, it started up just fine. Okay? Eat it. So I continue to drive to Denver. Can't figure out why it shut down. Didn't make that problem for the rest of the day. So I spend the night in Denver. The next day I decide, you know what? Something my dad always used to tell me, which is an obvious one, is that, car problems don't solve themselves. They don't. Problems just don't go away, So I decided to drive this thing to a car repair shop. And in Denver, it's easy to find people, who are working on Subarus. So I go down there. I'm like, yeah, what's the problem? And the guy goes, your catalytic converter's out. You know, it can't. I was like, okay, this is wonderful. Okay, I don't quite see what one has to do with the other, but these guys, I'm sure, are telling me the truth. So I don't want to pay for a brand new catalytic converter, so I get an aftermarket one. They put it in, everything seems fine. Well, guess what happens? Nothing changes. Car's still having problems, okay? I do make it back and forth, but something weird's happening where when I accelerate at high levels, going uphill, you know, like when your car is going uphill and has to kick back into that higher gear to get the momentum going again, my dashboard lights are just blinking, all right? They're just blink, blink, blink. So anyway, I bring it back to the repair shop. Yeah, listen, this is a problem. Oh, yeah, your alternator's done. You're going to need an alternator. It's like, okay. And so while I was there, I was just like, you know what? What else is wrong with the car? You know, to myself. And I said, all right, you know what? The heat doesn't work in my car. Like, you turn on... You gotta understand, it's super cold. I'm in January, of course. Oh, sorry, I keep saying January. It's December, okay? And it's really cold. And not having heat is a problem. Even when you're driving, it's bundling up in your car and seeing your breath in your car while you're driving. Not cool, man. So yeah, the fan motor's gone, so he changes that, and then I go back and to pick up the car up, and you know, I have a rental car in the meantime, you know, and he goes, yeah, listen, we were looking at your car, and yeah, your front right axle's broken. What? So I go over there, and yes, but he's like, listen, it's not a problem right now. I mean, it's not like broken, but it's gonna be a problem the longer you drive it, right? And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm driving to and from Denver, going up and down these large hills. Why don't I just get that fixed too? You know, I'm like, okay, cool. So I get that fixed, okay? So everything seems fine. After that, I pay a fortune. Everything works out. The car works, and long and behold, not even a day or two later, I get the call from the first guy saying, hey, listen, the new engine is in your car. I said, great, awesome. So I park the backup car next to Laura's house, right? And I take my other car, which is a Subaru Baja. Listen, laugh all you want, okay? I love the Baja. I thought it was silly my whole life. I always used to point at that car and laugh and say, who would buy that? And I love it. It's so practical. Having a truck bed on the back of your car is awesome. It's just come in handy so many times. So laugh at all you want. I'm the one with the upper hand. I'm the one with the upper hand. I refuse to buy a pickup truck because I typically don't like pickup truck drivers. Not everyone, okay? There are some of you out there. One of my closest friends has a pickup truck. I love him dearly, but whatever. I can't see myself getting a pickup. I'm not that guy. I'm a Subaru guy, okay? Deal with it! So anyway, flash forward. I moved to Nebraska officially, okay? Actually, I've been living in Nebraska at this point for a while, but I no longer need that second car, so I just kind of park it, right? So all of winter, January, February, March go through. It's cold as hell, and everything goes well. Everything goes with broken, right? Well, guess what happens, okay? More problems with the Baja, okay? There's other problems going on. There's spark plug problems and all sorts of stuff, you know, and there's these legs on the back that are loose and making all these rattling noises. So the guy says, all right, listen, it's going to be about a week. I said, okay. So what do? I go to pull out the backup car, and it doesn't start. And that's probably because it's been sitting there for 3 months. So understandable, okay. So Laura drives her car over there. I connect the jumper cables, and thing starts, but it sounds really loud, like it shouldn't be this loud. Like, I mean, my neighbors 3 miles from there, I'm sure have heard that car. Like, what is going on? So like a moron, I decided to try to drive it to see, well, if it's loud, but maybe it's just a muffler issue, maybe it's broken, and maybe I can still drive it. So I pull the car out. Yeah, I can't get it to go past like first or second gear. It's not moving. So I park it again and said, okay, all right, there's a problem. Don't know what the problem is. So I let it sit. I have to rent a car, of course. So I'm renting a car to get to and from work. And it's funny, I have 2 cars and both of them don't work at this point. Okay. So I decide to give the second car another shot, to go under there and try to figure out what the problem is so maybe I can get this thing worked on too, since I'm dropping all this money on the Baja again. All right? So Laura's 8-year-old boy is the one who figures out what the problem is. Go figure, right? He just looks under the car and goes, I think I found the problem. What? I look under the problem. Yeah, you know that giant pipe that like connects the front of the car to the muffler? It's just gone. It's not there. It's gone. Like who has this problem? How do pipes just disappear? That doesn't happen. So whatever, I just kind of left. I said, you know what? I can't deal with this right now. I'm just not doing it. So I continue to drive the rental car. My Baja finally gets fixed, and that's where we are today. I got my Baja, and my second car is sitting next to a garage doing nothing.